She spoke about that. The 2.8, 3.8 looks a good number, though it has underlying fallacies. But that's a number which really has to pick up and reach 1.2% of the GDP. There are a lot of numbers and you have them in the report, so I'm not going to bore you with a lot of details. But what we have cut the total retail market by the income segments. I'll just take 30 seconds to explain. The first one is HNI Plus. This is at the household personal financial assets. That's not annual income. So you have about 1.9 to 2 lakh households in India whose total personal financial assets cross 8.5 crores, so on and so forth for affluent and mass market. That tells you what is the size of life insurance GWP that segment contributes to. Obviously, if you see, despite being a very small fraction of the households, HNI Plus continues to dominate a large part of the life insurance GWP. Obviously, by the sheer numbers, it is a very high in health insurance GWP as well, but not as compared to the life as well. What we expect to happen over the next 5 to 6 years is, one, obviously with the rising influence, we expect that the number of households itself will go up. Obviously, the affluence levels increase further, but we also expect there's a slight shift which will happen. We see a big shift in HNI. The reason for that is the demand for the kind of health insurance that they see is changing. The kind of products that they want in the market is changing, and we see that to be a big driver of growth as far as the health insurance is concerned. We're going to quickly run through. We spoke about retail, where are the segments and where do the customers lie. Similarly, what we've done is we have broken the institutional market also by the size of the companies. So you obviously have the mega corporates, large corporates, mid-market and micro and SME. You obviously have the revenue numbers available for each one of them. That's the number of companies. So you have 650 to 750 companies who cross a total revenue of 4,000 crores. As you can see, the micro and SME is 6 crore in India. But that by definition does not tell you, because we've further broken down SMEs into small, micro and nano. Very small numbers in the number of companies for small and micro, much higher penetration of insurance. But if you look at the true micro SMEs, where they need the insurance cover, we continue to see a very, very, very low penetration. Obviously, the large corporates are 99, mega is 99, large corporates are 95, and mid-market is fairly well adequately covered. Most of the people want to play in that market. It is very well competitive and congested already. We feel the next set of opportunity will come from this particular sector. Yeah. So the point that we're seeing, this is the value pools or the premium spends that you see today as per the category. Obviously, the level of penetration we spoke on the previous slide. How do we see it evolving over the next 5-6 years is, if you see, we expect all the segments to grow, but we expect that micro and SMEs will drive the growth further. This is a segment that needs insurance. The product innovation, the model innovation has to work in that favor. Currently, it is not viable for you to go and cater to the needs of a SME, but we expect that with the change in the outlook and the innovation that is happening on product and model as well, we expect them to be the driver of growth for the next 4 or 5 years. Obviously, the mega and large corporates are very big in size. So after 5-6 years also, that is where we are expecting the micro and SMEs to reach. I'll now hand over to my colleague, Natasha.
Sorry, before Natasha takes over, I think the only thing I will highlight is, of course, the previous slides were a lot of numbers, and now you will see a lot of insights that we have from the survey that we have done. The objective of showing both the numbers as well as this survey is because I think a lot of this data at the granular customer level, I believe exists with, all of you at an individual company level. The idea of, publishing this in a standardized manner was also so that we as an industry can actually refer to, from a customer standpoint, retail standpoint, where the opportunity is, from an institutional standpoint, where the opportunity is. And particularly on this one, I mentioned it in the beginning also, but a huge thanks to all of you who have worked with us as well, right? To also sort of give us some of these insights, which then we have been able to tally at this level. So we saw a few numbers now. We'll talk about a few qualitative insights now, what the customers want, what they are looking for. And then we'll bring it together in the end to say what does it mean for all of you, all the brokers sitting here from an opportunity standpoint.
Thanks Abhishi and Kamlesh. Before I jump into the survey, just want to reinforce what Abhishi just mentioned, which is that nothing that we found so far in either the value pools or the surveys is counterintuitive, right? These are insights we all, you especially, intuitively know because it's what you see with your customers day in and day out. Except this has never been documented before, this has never been published before, and definitely not been legitimized the way it has through this report. So the idea here is to create a starting point almost to say this is where opportunity is. These are the different segments on the retail side, on the institutional side. This is the value that they offer. This is what these customers want. And therefore, now the ball is really in the court of all the stakeholders of the ecosystem, insurers, brokers, regulators alike, to really sort of think through and use this report as a mirror on what is it that will take to chart the course towards insurance for all. So this is not an end state, it's more like a starting point. With that said, for this report, we did a primary market research survey, one on the institutional side, which had a sample of about 2,500 retail customers. The sample was fairly representative, which means that it encompassed retail customers across age groups, across salaried and self-employed occupation types, across different levels of affluence. So we had customers with an annual household income of less than 5 lakhs and also customers with an annual household income of more than 50. And of course, other demographic parameters like gender, age, and so on. On the institutional side, which is essentially the businesses and the corporates and the enterprises that exist in the country, we spoke to about 100. And this included representation from retail, manufacturing, services sectors across different scales. So companies that have less than 50 crores in turnover to over 1,000 crores in turnover. Different vintages, so companies that have existed for less than 1 year to those that have existed for over a decade. And also different, scale measured in terms of number of employees. So that having been said, what did we really look at through this survey? We really try to understand what these customers experience at different stages of their insurance life cycle. So what does their awareness look like? What are their pain points, expectations, and barriers to purchase at the purchase stage? And then what is their experience? Or what is it that they really value in the post-purchase or the after-sales leg of the journey? So if we look at the retail survey, right, one sort of startling find was that awareness is actually not an issue. Intent is, and this really debunks a myth, because whenever we talk about insurance, the sort of leading narrative is that awareness is missing. But what this tells us, this chart, if you look at it, on the life side, 70% customers believe that their life insurance cover needs to be about 8 to 10 times their annual income. Yet if you ask them how many have a cover of that nature, less than 10% do. We see a similar story reflected on the health insurance side as well, which means awareness is clearly not the issue. It is intent, and it is the lack of sort of value perception in insurance which sort of doesn't allow people to convert their awareness into purchase. If we look at what influences purchase, or who rather influences purchase decision, right, we see that varies by customer segment. So for affluent plus customers, which is affluent HNI, UHNI, we find that trust and trusted advisors are sort of the key drivers to purchase. So you'll see that 75% plus of these affluent customers would rely on a broker or an agent to make their insurance purchase. It reinforces the knowledge that insurance is a trust-led industry and a trust-led product. The mass market finding is even more interesting because we see that 50% actually rely on their friends, family, and community. And even though an equal number is reflected on the broker and agent side, I would not hesitate in saying that these are likely to be sort of folks from the community itself who act as agents. So people who customers know to be their friends, family, buy insurance from them, but are agents. When we look at pain points and challenges with purchase, right, this one's interesting because what you will see is that on both ends of the spectrum, the needs are different and the kind of sort of challenges that customers struggle with are also different. You will see that mass market customers struggle with more fundamental things such as premiums being too high or policy terms being too complex, which means they don't understand the product. And perhaps the reason to also feel that the premiums are too high is because they do not see value in it. Whereas HNI customers, the affluent plus customers, are more likely to say that the policy that they have does not meet their needs, indicating a potential lack of customization in the market for this segment. On the claims side, next. On the claims side, this one's interesting. What you will see is that affluent customers are largely dissatisfied with the claims experience that they have today. So 50% plus has said that they've considered switching their insurer or their channel of purchase after a claims process. And 22%, nearly half that number, have actually gone ahead and changed, right? We do not see this kind of problem occurring on the mass market side, which means, one, knowing that claims is the biggest sort of marketing when it comes to insurance, there is a need to differentiate the claims experience based on segment. And for the HNI segment, which tends to be more experience focused rather than price sensitive, there is a need for sort of an end-to-end white gloved claims experience. Sorry, can we go back? Yeah. Even on the kind of assistance that is expected in the claims process, we see that mass market customers, their price sensitivity kind of gets reflected here, saying they're more keen on the kind of amount they get, whereas HNI customers are more sort of keen on getting assistance with documentation, which sort of, again, reinforces the belief that they care more about the overall experience. That's sort of the highlights of the retail survey. This is not it. These are just highlights. If you look through the report, you will find a far more detailed sort of commentary around each of these. But in the interest of time, we'll move to the institutional side. This one's interesting because what this chart will tell you is the reasons why different institutions buy insurance. And it's stark in saying that mega and large corporates, who are most likely to have internal risk management functions and an intrinsic understanding of risk protection and the need to manage it, are sort of guided in their purchase by trusted advisors. But your SMEs, so your micro and small enterprises on the other hand, which is the 6 crore small businesses that Kamlesh mentioned, they're largely driven in their insurance purchase by mandates. So these mandates could be regulatory in nature, they could be client mandates, requirements for a bank loan, indicating that the promoters of this business, while these businesses are most vulnerable to financial losses in the case of a risk event, these businesses are the least equipped to take a risk-based view. And here's why brokers could play a role, or intermediaries at large could play a role in cultivating a risk-based view in this segment to enable protection. Mega and large corporates along similar lines value-added services when it comes to their insurance purchase, so risk assessment, guidance, advisory, and so on. Whereas the needs of the micro and small enterprises are far more rudimentary, I would almost say, because they need products that are simple to understand, where the terms and conditions don't run into 40 pages, are rather simplified into 1 or 2, and that are customized for their needs. Now, I would encourage you to not take this literally, because we do recognize the fact that it's not possible to customize at an n is equal to 1 level for the SME sector. But what it essentially means is we need to start thinking about mass customization at a sector level for SMEs as a solve to this. But there is need to sort of move away from a spray and pray approach to the SME sector and take a more nuanced view in line with their needs. Lastly, when we look at the claims experience on the institutional side, what we see is that large corporates either do not face the issue of their claims being denied, indicating that they're sort of well taken care of because of the internal muscle and expertise that they have in their insurance and risk management overall. And even when they do, it's more driven by some sort of miscommunication. On the micro and small enterprises side, this problem becomes extremely stark, where almost 55% or more institutions said that because of oversight or lack of the right documentation or miscommunication, their claim was denied, and 30% indicate that they were not their sum assured was insufficient, which meant that when they did buy a policy or product, they were not adequately advised or appropriately advised. This is sort of mirrored in the kind of support that is expected on the claim side. Micro and small enterprises are largely sort of in need of functional assistance, so help with paperwork, documentation, communicating with the insurer, it becomes critical for them, whereas for mega and large corporates, as might be obvious to you, is need for negotiation on improving the amount or guidance on what would be the kind of amount that they should expect. So that's what we had on the institutional side. We would encourage you to look deeper into the report to sort of really wrap your head around all these insights. And on that note, I'll hand it over to Abhishek.
I know this has been going on for long, so I'll probably just take a few more minutes because, we heard what the opportunities, we heard, where brokers are currently playing a role. We also looked at what is your next frontier of opportunities that are available. What we now want to round this up with is essentially what does it now mean for us as a community of brokers. And if we go on the next slide, and this actually forms the core, the heart of the last chapter of the report that you will see. We spoke about there are different archetypes of customers. So on the retail, we have HNI, affluent, mass market. On institutional, we have further broken it down into not just, let's say, large, mid, medium, but also further into your micro, small enterprises. And at the bottom, you have the archetypes that we have spoken about, right, in terms of the broker that are available in the market. In the middle is what you see are the actionables that at least we are saying if you bring together the broker archetype and if you bring together the type of customer, how I or we as brokers can play a role, not just at the traditionally, we would imagine we have the maximum role to play, let's say, at the point of sale or at the distribution, right? But what we have taken a stab at, in all humility, is to uncover what role they can play across the life cycle. Here we are seeing, Natasha mentioned that the awareness is not an issue, it is an issue of intent, right? So here we are firstly seeing how we as brokers can actually play a better role in driving intent through engagement, through better marketing, through better communication, and not just, let's say, leave it solely at the insurers. In the middle part is basically at the point of sale or at the time the customer or the consumer is actually making the purchase decision, which is to say, are there segments that we can help insurers unlock? Right? I mean, traditionally, there's a middle part of the pyramid, which we say, right, which is most focused on. But what about the extreme spectrums of the pyramid, right, which, let's say, are not getting as much focus, but we clearly saw in some of the earlier charts that there is so much potential in there. Can we actually play a role in unlocking some of those customer segments? Similarly, to unlock those customer segments, what is the type of offering or the product or the specific need that customer segment has that we can help or we can jointly address that for the insurers? And by the way, a lot of this we have seen global examples, and you'll see some of that in the report, because of which we are even making some of these suggestions here for us as well. And then the last one, we saw it in the survey, enough and more opportunity is to how can we also support in after sales experience, right? And some of the other distribution channels have clearly sort of evolved on that front, and we feel it's also time for us to evolve and spend a lot of time as to what we can do on that front. Of course, there are also things that we as brokers will need to ensure that all of this is happening in terms of, number one, having the right talent in place, having the right leadership, attracting, retaining the right talent. Number two is the regulatory enablement. Number 3 is the public-private partnerships, and then the last one being capital, which again we spoke about, that there is a lot of positive trend in terms of the inflow of capital which is coming, but we believe that is just the beginning and there is a lot more to come for us to really sort of be able to achieve all of this. Well, with this, I'll wrap it up. But I'll take the liberty of just saying our hashtag, which is broker hai to bharosa hai, and that is really the objective and the intent with which we have, built this the report. So thank you, and I'm not sure how much time we have, but happy to take questions if there are any.
Have you done any sense on the future forecast you believe the broking industry can have as a market share or as an overall sense in the Indian market in next future? I know everybody talks about 35% current market share, but what do you see in the next few years for brokers to contribute?
So, while we haven't tried to put a number, we've done a lot of projections, we haven't tried to put a number to channel shares. Overall, what we do believe is that broking as a channel will be on a positive, very positive growth path. And the reason for that is that while insurance expands and grows as an industry, distribution is in other channels shrinking. So you will see that agent pools are shrinking. The agency channel, and this is more using an anecdotal example here, but you will see that people who used to be agents, their children no longer want to be agents, right? So agency as a whole is shrinking. And so given that insurance tends to be 90% or more intermediary led, there's a very strong opportunity that we believe exists for the broker channel, especially as customers get more aware and also expect more. We live in a day and age where customers are now expecting more and more levels of service. Can other channels enable that for the customer is a good question to ask. And in that light, we do believe that brokers can play a role with the overall sort of caveat that the value proposition evolves in the nature that we've highlighted in the report.
If I may just perhaps add on to everything that Natasha said to your question, look, the all markers are essentially indicating for the broker channel to only keep going up for a few variety of reasons, right? Number one is there are going to be parts of the growth which are going to come from, in some shape and form, more complex products or newer products that are going to get launched, let's say, pertaining to cyber insurance, some of the additional complications that arise on the crop side, etc. So there, the role of the broker becomes important in terms of being able to articulate and then move the product forward, right? That's number one. The second is amongst all of the different agencies that exist in terms of being able to merge the phygital ecosystem that we talked about in the morning, including unleashing the power of AI-led scale, which can be handled of all of the different channels. The broker channel perhaps has the best possible opportunity there. The third is that especially in terms of both the commercial as well as the SME side, given the growth that continues to be there, right, and the focus that continues to be there on the group side, the role of broker is only going to be continuously critical. Now, to answer your specific question, if I take a futuristic lens of what the percentage is going to be, I think that's the goal seek that you're trying to solve for, right? Today, it's 35%. Look, it's a math. There are two factors which will be there before you put a number of whether it's a 40 or a 45, right? One is how much are other channels going to withstand / shrink with respect to the growth of the broker channel, number one. Number two is, given all the impetus that's happening in the insurance industry, how much is the base itself going to get increased by? So those are two factors which only time will say. It is very clear it's going to head in one direction. The question is the magnitude, whether 35 becomes a 38 or a 40 or a 45 is contingent on a few different factors.
Hello.
Yeah, I have a question. Fourth point say becoming the broker of the future, right? And we all know that the life has changed post-COVID. And we are talking about using of artificial intelligence. I have seen we are talking only about the service, right? And we are talking also about the 2047 vision, where we are talking about insurance for all, particularly in the country which is so diversified. Have we ever thought upon any new business model which can come up in the future or which can be discussed with the regulator? Keeping in mind that the last non-face-to-face selling, that is distance marketing, came in 2011. Post that, web aggregator covers certain part of it, which came in 2017. Post that, brokers also amended in 2019. But after COVID, nothing has changed on the distance marketing guidelines. Have you thought upon what is the business model being, or what are the business models being followed in the developed countries vis-a-vis India? And is there any scope of coming up in the new business models in India which can be developed, because our is a regulated business. Every business model is regulated. And have you ever think upon what are the new business model which can come in India in future? And we can jointly, along with the IBAI, with the regulator, we can develop a roadmap for that so that we can achieve the vision of 2047.
No, thank you. I'll probably respond to this quickly, but you'll see a lot of the details of that and suggestions in the report itself. But I think just one or two quick points I'll mention. Number one, we showed you a chart which said that traditionally we as brokers have played a big role in institutional customers, not that big a role when it comes to on the retail side. So one of the shifts that we were also describing for the brokers from an opportunity and model standpoint was how can we serve the retail side of the segment also much better. And some of the details you'll see how we can do that, what are the enablers, etc., that are needed there. The second thing is also, if I go back to our archetypes, right, one of the models that we were also mentioning, that these digital first self-serve kind of brokers are also sort of coming up. And I wouldn't say they will displace some of the large brokers, but they will certainly be a big contributor going forward. So we've also mentioned details on what the business model, what is working for those type of brokers, and to like what Abhilash was also mentioning earlier, if we truly have to be AI-led, digital-led, technology-led, what will that entail? But I'll keep it short. But in the report, you'll actually see a lot of commentary and suggestions on what are the newer business models, and we've taken a lot of learnings from what globally players are doing, but then have applied the lens of what is also feasible for us from a regulatory framework standpoint.
Thank you.
Other global markets. One is what I briefly, so three probably. One is what I had briefly mentioned in the morning too, which is ensuring that you have embedded insurance products which are already integrated as part of the existing customer journeys, especially as you're looking at, let's say, gig workers, or for instance, even on the agri side, which right now is still in its nascency. That way you don't need to, it's going to be a lot much more easier to have the insurance products embedded in the journey versus you distributing the product standalone. SME through the credit offering is one place where we see that, but there's an opportunity there. That is number one. The second place where we do think there is an opportunity is using the power of data in order to improve trust and transparency in products such as, let's say, parametric insurance. I think Mr. Jain had talked about in the morning. How can you, for instance, have much better data and analytics, right, pertaining to, let's say, weather conditions, geospatial, etc., which can then influence what the pricing and the metrics that you're offering for insurance in that particular space can be, especially when data can be bleak there, right? The third part where we are in particular seeing European insurers investing a lot is on streamlining the service models. In India, we still feel that the service models that we end up having, be it in the form of contact center, claims processing, highly inefficient, right? And one of the reasons is because labor here is cheap, right? In all transparency, 5, 7, 10 years later, one of the panelists mentioned, labor is also going to get expensive there, in which case, let's take an example of a player like an ING in Europe. They have avoided 50 to 60% of the calls that come to the contact center through the power of regular chatbots, AI, Gen AI, and they're also forecasting using the power of AI. That's something which we can learn, and it will also help you streamline and take pressure off the EOMs, which insurance companies will have to manage their P&Ls on.
Thank you. Thank you so much to the McKinsey team. Can I request you to please join us on stage for just a few moments longer, because I would like to invite the president of IBAI, Shri Narendra Barandwal, to please come and join us to felicitate the McKinsey team. Let me also call for Abhishek Bondia to please come and join us. Thank you very much to McKinsey team. Let me request Shri Narendra Barandwal to please remain on stage for just a little bit longer, because I would like to request him to do the honors of introducing our next speaker.
Thank you. I just take the opportunity to invite our guest of honor for this session. It's with immense pride and deep gratitude that we welcome Sri M. Nagaraju IAS, Secretary, Department of Financial Services, to the 24th Foundation Day celebrations of Insurance Brokers Association of India, as we step into a landmark 25th year. Sir, your gracious presence today is a source of great encouragement for the entire insurance broking fraternity. Over the past 2.5 decades, IBAI has strived to amplify the voice of policyholder, broker, and champion the policyholder interests, and work collaboratively with insurers, regulators, and the government to enhance insurance penetration and trust in our sector. As we enter our Silver Jubilee year, your participation reinforces our shared commitment to advancing the government's vision of insurance for all by 2047. Your insights and guidance will be valuable as we collectively navigate the evolving landscape of financial services and contribute to more inclusive, resilient, and progressive insurance ecosystem. On behalf of IBAI, its past and present office bearers, and our entire leadership and membership team across the country, we extend a heartfelt welcome and look upon to your address, which will inspire us as we chart the road ahead. Before that, I'll just request my Honorary Secretary Nirmal Bajaj to say a few words. Thank you.
Respected Nagaraju sir, along with Madam Tripathi sir, and all esteemed guests, Namaskar and very good afternoon. This is truly a privilege and an honor to stand before you today as Honorary Secretary of the IBAI on the occasion of Foundation Day, making 24 impactful year of IBAI and entering into Silver Jubilee year. It's not just an occasion of celebration, it's a milestone. It's a celebration of transformation, of preservance, of how far we have come, and of the collective spirit that brought us so far. India's insurance journey, I'll just give you a snapshot of what we have done. From 2000 to 2025, last 25 years, the Indian insurance landscape has evolved in a way that very few sectors have. Liberalization unlocked the sector, welcoming private participation, and along with it, competition, innovation, and renewed customer focus. Let me share a few data on this journey. Back in 2000, the industry premium, both life and general, put together was around 16,000 crore. Fast forward to 2023-24, of which official data is available. we closed an outstanding, astonishing figure of 11 lakh crore premium, both put together, LI and GI. This is compounded annual growth rate of 19% year on year for last 2 decades. Sustaining double-digit CAGR for over 25 years is not just impressive, it's extraordinary for any industry. And when it comes to brokers, our journey is equally compelling. Since we have established in 2001 and first regulation rolled out in 2002, it was completely new subject and business model, and today we are 700 plus strong brokers and growing every month. This growth reflects rising awareness, demand, and trusted advisors, and shift towards transparency and professionalism in the industry. I'll also put on record some of the very, very impactful government's initiative that drove the business. Government of India has truly redefined access and inclusiveness in insurance through visionary activities like Ayushman Bharat for universal healthcare, PM Jeevan Jyoti Yojana for affordable life cover, PM Suraksha Bima Yojana for accidental protection, Atal Pension Yojana for post-retirement security, PM Fasal Bima Yojana for farmers crop up, state-led paramedic pilots to cover climate-related risks like heat waves and disasters. These schemes have helped millions come together under the safety net for the many for them for the first time in life. A regulator, I'd like to talk about a regulator, our journey in last 25 years. IRA2 is undergoing a shift from being just a regulator at the initial stage to become a true enabler in today's time. Simplified, digitized process now allow brokers to focus on building awareness, reaching last mile, and improving trust. Recent initiatives like State Level Insurance Committee for Insurance Plan and appointment of lead insurance companies is really a very landmark decision, sir, that will really grow the penetration to a next level. We would like to submit that brokers are willing to participate and collaborate for last mile delivery in this your initiative. I will also like to talk for a moment on campaigns the industry has initiated. Like for mutual fund, there was an initiative campaign which ran and really successfully mutual fund sahi hai. We also in our insurance industry also over the years IBAI is consistently in its conversation with Government of India, IRDA advocate the increased insurance awareness and education, and we are happy that industry has started campaigns like Achha Kiya Insurance Liya by GI Council, Sabse Pehle Life Insurance by LI Council, and our own ABI campaign broker hai to bharosa hai, and also insurance jaruri hai in line with mutual fund sahi hai. These are not just slogans, sir. They represent a new energy across the entire ecosystem to improve financial protection and literacy and inclusive growth. We respectfully urge IRDI to consider launching an independent campaign focused on policyholder protection and awareness. Sir, such an initiative coming directly from the regulator would carry immense credibility and have a far-reaching impact across stakeholders. IBI will be happy to collaborate on this subject and contribute in whatever capacity we can. Let me now talk about what insurance brokers have done in last 24 years. From July 2001, IBAI is established to give insurance brokers a unified voice, one grounded in ethics, professionalism, and service to the client. Today, we are proud to be recognized as the apex body of all licensed brokers in India. Let me take a moment to reflect on some of the key contributors. We are the only intermediary in the entire insurance industry who exclusively represent the policyholder, ensuring a policyholder first approach in everything we do. The broking sector generated more than 15 lakh jobs directly, indirectly through brokers, offices, and POSP model, fostering livelihoods and skill development. We have brought professionalism, accountability, and transparency to this particular sector. We continue to drive awareness, literacy, and trust in insurance across the country. Our sector contributes approximately 5,000 crore every year in direct and indirect taxes to the national exchequer, a strong economic impact. Internationally, IBAI now has the active engagement with WFI, NIBA is Australian Association, Capiba, Asia Pacific, and JIBA, Japan Insurance Broker Association. We have proudly launched the IBI chapter at Gift City recently in this financial year, and the initial response is very positive. That's what Mr. Reddy also announced in his speech. And through it all, our work has supported India's socio-economic development by protecting people, business, and livelihood. On a personal note, having been associated with IBI since its formative years, way back in 2003-04, and now again as a director and honorary secretary, I feel both proud and humble to carry forward the vision of those who build the IBI brick by brick, and this responsibility I cherish deeply. Looking ahead, we are aligning with Government of India and IRDAI to take insurance awareness and finance literacy deeper into the states, districts, and panchayats, and becoming active implementation partner for outreaching and trust building. In this changing world, brokers are no longer just intermediary. We are becoming risk advisor, claim facilitator, digital enabler, and educator. IBI stands fully committed to empowering every broker to play this role with integrity and excellence. As we celebrate our Foundation Day and step into 25th year, let us remember this Silver Jubilee is not just a celebration of what we have achieved. It's all a call for action for what lies ahead. Together we can let us shape future where every Indian is insured, protected, and empowered. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I know that everybody is eager, awaiting the keynote address by our guest of honor. So it's my immense pleasure to invite to the stage Shri M. Nagaraju. Please join us on the dais. And I'd also like to request Shri Narendra Barandwal, President IBAI, and Shri Nirmal Bazad's Honorary Secretary IBAI, to take the dais. Let us welcome and felicitate our guest of honor with a bouquet gesture. Also presenting a lovely memento. So it's my pleasure to request our guest of honor to kindly share a few words through his keynote address today. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri M. Nagaraju.
President and Office Bearers of Insurance Brokers Association of India, esteemed guests, industry participants, senior officials from the insurance industry, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Very good afternoon to all of you. Let me first express my pleasure for inviting me. And it's an honor and a privilege to be present today to mark 24th Foundation Day of Insurance Brokers Association of India. 24 years of tireless contribution to the Indian insurance landscape and also the dawn of 25th year of institutional service. So my warmest congratulations to the President, office bearers, entire IBA and its current leadership and past office bearers, everyone who had actually contributed to make this organization such a robust one. Now, I think many of you know, the IBA has started as a response to the emerging need for a structured, ethical, and professionally governed broking community. Over the years, it has transformed into a key pillar of India's insurance distribution architecture, building trust, ensuring transparency, and helping the market mature in its approach to risk management. From a modest beginning, the association has grown to represent a pan-India network of licensed insurance brokers who today handle a significant share of commercial and increasingly retail insurance placements in India. IBA has positioned itself not just as a trade body, but as a thought leader and a responsible stakeholder in the insurance value chain. The journey so far has been very impressive, but what lies ahead, given the current landscape of insurance industry, is even more exciting and more important for the country. As you're aware, the Government of India, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, has laid down an ambitious and inclusive roadmap, Insurance for All by 2047. This vision is not merely about increasing the premiums or expanding the market. It is about social and economic development and empowerment in the country. We want every Indian, urban and rural, rich or poor, self-employed or salaried, agriculturist or industrialist, to have access to appropriate, affordable, and effective insurance protection. We envision insurance as a core enabler of India's next phase of economic growth and financial inclusion. In this mission, insurance brokers have a uniquely strategic role. Your expertise in client advisory, your reach across sectors and geographies, and your ability to design and service complex risk solutions are precisely what the country needs today, especially as we navigate new age risk in healthcare, cybersecurity, climate change, MSME stability, and disaster resilience. As we step into the Silver Jubilee year of IBA, I wish to share a message with all the insurance brokers across India. We need your active participation in state level and sectoral insurance programs. There is a vast untapped potential in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, in agricultural and rural zones, in unorganized sectors, and among small businesses. We believe insurance brokers can firstly increase awareness about the importance and availability of insurance in remote and low income populations, to bridge the trust deficit that sometimes exists between the insurer and the insured by playing the role of transparent advisors and advocates. Thirdly, augment insurance penetration through grassroots engagement, simplified product dissemination, and capacity building of local intermediaries. Fourthly, support government-led insurance schemes, whether in agriculture, health, credit, or catastrophic, with better design, training, and implementation support. We invite IBAI to work more closely with the state governments and the public institutions to create awareness campaigns, training modules, and feedback loops for policy improvement. Let me also acknowledge that the insurance broking sector is a significant generator of employment, both directly and indirectly. Thousands of professionals, support staff, underwriters, claim handlers, IT specialists, and marketing personnel are employed or supported by the broking ecosystem. When brokers thrive, it creates a ripple effect across the service economy, including legal, technical, and financial advisory service. This employment impact must be nurtured and expanded through skill development, certification, and digital inclusion. I have been given to understand that brokers today engage more than 13 lakh points of sales persons, and there is potential to grow further. I must commend IBA for its sustained focus on skill building, professional certification, and continuing education. The knowledge series, certification drives, risk advisory at workshops, and regulatory awareness programs being regularly conducted by IBAI across India are all steps in the right direction. In a fast evolving regulatory and risk environment, continuous upskilling is the only way to remain relevant and responsible. The government is keen to work with IBA and other stakeholders to develop a national framework for insurance advisory education, including special training for brokers who wish to serve underserved and priority sectors. I also take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of IBA in thought leadership and public communications. Its publications, including Broker's Voice Survey and the iBroker magazine, Claims Handbook, are not only informative for the industry but serve as valuable resources for policyholders and public authorities as well. Such platforms contribute to transparency, foster dialogue, and help build a well-informed insurance market. Going forward, I would encourage you to use these channels to bring focus to emerging issues: cybersecurity, cyber risk, ESG compliance, SME protection, and disaster insurance, so that we may develop proactive pre-loss strategies for national resilience. Let me conclude with a firm affirmation of the government's intent. We consider insurance brokers as essential partners in building a financially resilient India. We are committed to removing bottlenecks, simplifying compliance, and encouraging innovation in distribution, while keeping the interests of the policyholders at the heart of every reform. IBA's 25th year is an opportunity not just for celebration but also for reflection and recommitment. Recommitment to ethical conduct and transparency. Secondly, recommitment to policyholder education and advocacy. Thirdly, recommitment to serving as enablers of financial inclusion and economic growth. Together, we can unlock the true potential of insurance as a development instrument. My best wishes to IBA, its leadership, and all its members for a successful year ahead and a future filled with growth, integrity, and national impact. Once again, I thank IBA for inviting me, and to all of you for giving me a very patient hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful keynote address by our guest of honor, Sri M. Nagaraju. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We would now like to hear a few words from the past IBAI presidents and secretaries. So I'll quickly ask them to come forward and share some messages. Let us begin with Sri Nitin Dosa, former Honorary Secretary and Treasurer, IBAI.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. Guest of honor, sir. Thank you very much for coming. I would only say I remember the old days when it was rumored that broking is coming. So I rushed to Ghatkopar at Harshad Bhai's office, Interlink, where the first office was to be formed. And Mr. G.R. Vora at that time was handling how to go about. And he asked me, what help you can do. So then we met and we went on, several meetings, and ultimately Mr. Bharat Boda, he took over. And at that time, I was not included in the board. But giving due respect, I can give a small episode what happened to me and how other brokers entered the scene. There were only 4 or 5 brokers who wanted to enter the scene and keep everybody aside. And I went to meet Mr. Rangachari, who helped us a lot. And he said, no, it just cannot be a monopoly. There has to be other brokers who should also come in. So I played a small role in that. And I can see today IBAI going in the 24th year completion and going in the 25th. I wish all of you all the best. And we hope to see 50 years soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shri Nitin Dosa. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Shri S.V. Thakur, former Honorary Secretary, IBAI, to please take the stage. All right, so I believe he is not available at the moment. Let me request Shri Sanjay Kedia, former President, IBAI, to please come forward.
Guest of honor, member IDA, all the colleagues, such a joy and a pleasure to see that we are on this major milestone of 25th silver anniversary. And hearing these words from our guest of honor, that the way the government, the way the regulator has recognized the role of this important service which we perform, serving the policyholder, representing their interest, bridging the trust deficit, bringing transparency, helping in the risk improvement for the insurers, helping insurers also in getting the business. I think the role which broker plays in the society is not easily understood, and rather it is mostly misunderstood, that a word broker means probably an intermediary and an additional cost. But the fact and the data which we saw in the McKinsey report, that broker inherently is creating a value to several stakeholders and is the fastest growing channel. From zero in 2002 as a premium, it has captured 35% of the total market and remains the fastest growing channel. And we look at other markets, the market shares are 70%, 60%, somewhere 85%. So different market shares in different, and all of them much higher. So we know the direction is up. We heard that. And there's no other great joy to stand over here and see this recognition coming from such seniors. And when I had an opportunity to serve as the president, I remember we all collectively, whenever we used to gather, I think we all resolved that in our representation to the regulator and various bodies, we will put the representation of interest of the policyholder above our representation. And that resolve was a milestone in itself. That, in fact, if you look at, all intermediaries exist because they are appointed by anybody other than the customer, the agent, the loss adjuster. They're all getting appointed by insurers or somebody else. We are the only intermediary who exist only and only if the customer chooses us to exist. So we are appointed in writing by the customer, and then we come into the play. If the only reason we exist is that customer chooses us to be present in this transaction, I think getting this resolved and reminding ourselves in every forum that we should always highlight, preserve, and protect the interests of the policyholder in all possible forms, and in every forum challenging and issues around what's happening on the claim settlement. I think this claims handbook, which has been institutionalized every year. I know it causes heartburn for certain insurers which are not on the top of the list because only few can be number one and few can be number two. But this transparency on who is really paying the claim in what much time, who is rejecting the claim on various areas, it is available to the entire society at large. These kinds of work are helping the policyholder. No other institution will do this work in bringing this level of data transparency to the whole market and in the interest of the policyholder. I think there's so much more work to be done in the area of policyholder interest. Regulator has released by far some of the most leading requirements on the insurer for the policyholder interest. And I would like to take this podium and forum to just leave one request to the regulator again. Regulations are in place for policy issuance to now happen in 7 days. How many of we recently got done? So regulator has been continuously doing that. But in reality, premiums are paid before the policy incepts, but the policy usually doesn't come 6 months, 1 year, the period ends. Before 1 month, it's rare. So though the regulator is drafting these regulations, but on policyholder interest, one submission to the regulator, can they ask insurer to publish their compliance on policyholder protection regulations on surveyor appointment deadline, claims payment deadline, survey report to be given in 1 month? The implementation of these are very, very poor. So I think when we look at all these issues, and I think as an association, we should continue to work towards this policyholder protection. Regulator is very much there. I think we are the voice and the messenger of what's really happening in the market to the regulator, increase the dialogue, and we all collectively make one person win, which is the customer. And I think in the process, the whole industry will benefit. And I know insurers will also benefit because ultimately, if customer wins, all of us win because we all here to serve society and the customer. So with this, I believe that all of us should reaffirm our commitment to the singular cause which we all have united, that we represent the customer and will continue to focus all our energies on what is the best interest of the customer. With this, I once again thank all the participants and the guest of honor and the IRDA and everybody. So thank you all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Let me now request Shri Vijay Rampal, former Honorary Secretary, IBAI, to please come forward and share his thoughts on this occasion.
Good afternoon to you all the dignitaries and the esteemed guests. It's absolute pleasure to be part of the 24th Foundation Day, coinciding for the celebrations of IBI, marking the beginning of its 25th year, a remarkable milestone for all of us in the broking community. While insurance broking in India was formally institutionalized just 24 years ago, Indians have long made their mark as insurance professionals across the globe. That global presence gives our industry a rich talent pool and a strong foundation as Indian brokers now look forward, expanding into new markets and becoming global players in their own right. I truly believe we stand on the threshold of an exciting future, and here's why. We represent the client, the most important stakeholder in this ecosystem. The risk capital they bring sustains the entire industry. We are solution providers, not capacity providers. We bring choice, advocacy, and expertise to the table, making us the true enablers of insurance success. Insurance broking is an incredible career path with vast potential for growth, impact, now even global mobility. As we look ahead to the goal of insurance for all by 2047. Customer confidence will be key, and here brokers play a critical role in ensuring contract certainty and building trust in the system. IBI has been a strong custodian of that trust over the years. It has not only represented brokers, it has also consistently championed the voice of the consumer, ensuring that their needs are central to industry dialogue. The dual role gives IBI its unique power and purpose. But this vision can only be realized if more broker leaders actively participate in shaping the future. I urge all of us, whether legacy firms or new entrants, to engage more deeply with IBI and with each other. Let us commit to building organizations rooted in professionalism, transparency, and customer centricity, because only then can we truly elevate this industry to the heights it deserves. My heartfelt thanks to IBI President, the board, and the entire community for this special event and for allowing me to be part of this inspiring journey. Thank you, and here's to future filled with purpose, trust, and growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me now request Shri Sumit Bora, former President IBAI, to please come forward, take the dais, and address our audience this evening.
Very good afternoon to our guest of honor, Shri Nagaraju ji. Good afternoon to Tripathi ji and all the colleagues from the broking fraternity. So it's a great pleasure and honor to be part of this 24th Foundation Day celebration of IBI. I was fortunate to be the president for last 5 years before I gave the reign to Narendra. And I think last 3 months have been very exciting with the kind of work which is being carried out by the new team. We have been discussing, deliberating, throughout the day in terms of, how we can penetrate, how we can lead to the growth in market. But I think the key which I want to drive is that education is the key. And I think that was my pet project when in last 5 years where I've been talking about that the key is to educate the school and college children and make them aware of, the benefits out of insurance, how risk management has to be practiced. We all talk about risk management in terms of money. We all talk about, investment in shares, securities, mutual funds. But insurance is never being discussed at that level. And I think that is the key if you want to really penetrate in the market. And I urge the leadership of IBI that again we should start those series where we can go to the schools and colleges and make this awareness campaign. And I think that would lead to what we really intend to do in terms of penetration. I was also part of the WFI team recently in Washington, and where I got a perspective of many other global market. And let me tell you, we are in one of the best, sweetest spot in the market. And thanks to the regulator for getting some of the, hygienes in the market. I think bringing EOM in the market was one of the boon to the industry. And regulation changes, which has happened in last 3 years, I think that has given a lot of comfort to the broking. I think the last urge from our broking industry to Nagaraju sir and to the Honorable FM and Prime Minister is that we need a perpetual license which is pending for a long period of time. And I think that will give the necessary impetus to the broking industry and it will give a business continuity. So my best wishes to IBI and thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'd now like to hear from Shri Sundaram Varadan, the former Honorary Secretary, IBAI.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I'll talk something different from what everybody has said. So I'll talk about my personal journey on how I got into the board. First of all, thanks to all the members who elected me and the board to elect me as a secretary in the first year of joining the board. Your support has meant a lot to me. It had made me grow personally and built my confidence. And we were always looking for avenues where we could improve, what we could bring on the table, and how it would benefit the members. So we had taken a lot of steps in this process. We even recreated the entire broker qualified person document, make sure that it's today up to the mark of what the brokers need. They are equipped and their employees are equipped. Secondly, we created another code comparison for the health and health insurance, which worked for some time. Later, many members didn't use it. So it'll pick up again. And then a few other changes which transformed the way people started looking at the broker association. Being entrusted with these responsibilities was both a privilege and motivation to me, to my best of IBAI and to each one of you. Serving in these roles, I've been inspired every day by the dedication and the vision of the board, president, and the rest of the office bearers. I'm especially thankful for the opportunity to work alongside such talented leaders and for the chance to contribute to a shared mission. My deepest gratitude to each member for this journey. We have accomplished much together, and my respect and appreciation for the association and the insurance profession have really grown. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Those were some messages from past presidents and the secretaries. And now we would like to hear a few words from Shri Rishi Bashin, the president of ISLA. Can we have you take the stage, please? We can give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, Honorable Mr. Nagaraju, Member Distribution IBAI, distinguished dignitaries present here, and the honorable members of IBAI. Thank you very much, President Sir, for inviting me. It was an eye-opener for me while I was listening to the McKinsey report. See, the brokers, especially in the last 1 decade, have come in a very significant way in this industry. And their presence is now felt very much while we are working in the industry. This tagline, broker hai to bharosa hai, is a very nice tagline. I was associating my institution with this tagline, that how this bharosa can be increased. Thank you. See, the surveyors and brokers mostly are like husband and wife, sometimes fighting and sometimes going along with each other. So this bharosa can be increased if both these organizations come together on a platform and find out ways and means to penetrate more in the market, because the more you will penetrate, the more jobs we will get. The early assessments and early settlements of claims circulate the word of mouth in a better way, and the targets can easily be achieved early if the services are improved, assessments done fairly and in time will definitely be in the benefit of everybody. And We are in touch with the President and the Secretary to devise some new ways wherein the services can be improved. Of course, authority has brought in the Master Circular, which also emphasizes on the insured's benefits, their interests to be watched. There is an automated portal of deputation of claims is coming up, which definitely will improve and increase the fairness of assessment. Not taking much of your time, I congratulate you all on achieving this milestone and many more footprints this institution will leave in a good fashion. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now to conclude, to present the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Ms. Monisha Dosa, Director, IBAI. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she joins us on stage.
Good evening, everyone. It's with great pleasure that I stand here today as Director IBAI and part of the organizing committee to offer a vote of thanks for this wonderful event, a milestone year. We are deeply grateful to our Chief Guest, Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan, for gracing us with his presence. A special thanks to Shri M. Nagaraju, IAS Secretary, DFS, Ministry of Finance. Sir, your insights were truly inspiring. A huge thank you to Shri Satyajit Tripathi sir, Alumalu madam, and Shri Mahipal Reddy sir, and all the other dignitaries present. We also extend our sincere appreciation to all the speakers, whose presentations were engaging and informative. We need to also thank our organizing committee, IBAI, whose dedication and hard work made this event a great success. Thank you all for being here and making this a memorable day. Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, we conclude IBAI Foundation Day. What a wonderful day it has been right from the word go. Once again, we'd like to say a big thank you to our chief guest and our guest of honor for joining us and gracing the occasion. Today, right from the morning, we have been so proud to share this journey, this vision, and this legacy with all of you, because today is not about celebrating the association, but celebrating the entire broking community. You all have been an absolutely wonderful audience. Thank you for your support, your enthusiasm, and we'd like to invite you to join us for high tea and networking, which is situated right outside this venue. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Until we meet again, have a lovely evening.